All right. Hello, everybody. We are the Skirmisher Game Development Group, and in this video, we have the most anticipated crossover event of the century. We are playing a travel-sized role-playing game scenario developed by Amanda Cull. Amanda, what do you have for us tonight?
So I actually have a scenario that is adapted from my comic Age of Night. And that's my comic that's been online at ageofnight.com for a very long time, but it is also published digitally through Skirmisher Publishing. So it's a pretty great integration here of our interests. So this is a scenario that is actually from very early on in the series. So if you've read it, then you'll probably be familiar with some of what has happened. If you haven't read it, then you should go do that.
Where
But
can they find
obviously,
it,
it's
Amanda?
ageofnight.com or skirmisher.com because we also sell it.
True.
Yeah. But obviously, since this is an RPG session, you're probably going to see things play out a little bit differently than they did when I wrote it, because I don't have control over my players. I have control over things that I write. I do not have control over what they do, only what I throw at them. So, speaking of, who is everybody playing? We are playing the canonical main character party from the comic. So, Penny, which character are you playing this evening?
I am playing Kamaria, who has lived most of her life on the streets, and she is a cunning thief. And she tends to be very mistrustful of others, but she has a deep sense of spirituality, and she sort of unexpectedly feels sort of connected to these characters, and they've been nice to her, and she's not used to that.
Nice. All right. Brenda, who are you playing?
I'm playing Wen of the White Order. Wen is a newly graduated white mage who has stumbled into her current life adventure. She's kind, friendly, and more than a little naive. And while she cares for all her companions, she is especially close with Drake and considers it her personal responsibility to help him on his quest.
All right. And Mike, who are you playing?
I'm playing Thelonious, who generally goes by Fel. Due to his childhood training as a shadow, which is like a kind of stealth warrior, Thel is a very observant spy and deadly assassin. He's generally reserved and often reluctantly serves as the straight man to his companions' antics, which is actually not a good role for me.
No, I don't know how you're going to pull that off, Mike.
I was a little surprised by this being your character choice, honestly, but we'll see how this goes.
Well, he had a beard, and I figured that was as much a reason as any to play him. And he and Drake, who Paul will introduce presently, have lived on the road together for years and are virtually brothers. They consider themselves to be family.
All right, and that leaves Paul.
Yeah, so I'm playing Drake, who is a gregarious and easygoing rogue who, through various events, was recently turned into a cat. In fact, the black cat, as you can see in the picture there, he just recently got his cat legs, wasn't really able to walk very well, but can kind of get about now. He can talk, but that isn't really a good idea around people that don't know who he actually is because, cats usually don't talk. So, yeah, my special ability is that I'm a cat. I'm also the avatar of Kiara's, who is god of night and plays a central role in the whole storyline. So, looking
Right.
forward to being a cat.
Yeah. Okay. So, to set the scene, obviously there's been some adventure that has happened before we got here, but at the beginning of this adventure, Drake, Thel, Wen, and Kamaria have just arrived in a small, dusty village on the edge of the eastern desert. This is the final bastion of civilization before one strikes out into the barren wilderness, which the party must traverse to reach the temple of the Banished Sons. 24 years ago, the previous avatar of the god of night died there, fighting the cult of the Banished Sons. During the battle, he lost a sacred artifact, the Shadow of Widge. The four adventurers hope to find the missing amulet and use its power to help Drake return to his human body. So that is where we begin. You are in the Desert Border Post village. It's a very small little town on the outskirts of the Republic of Amathea, which is where the story so far has been taking place. It had historically been a small trading post for travelers that were heading up and down the eastern border or going out into the desert on treasure hunts. However, recently a modest gemstone mine was found in the sandy hills just outside of town, so the Mages Guild has established a guild hall there and has started to bring in a lot more activity. So this place is getting a lot more lively now. So before you decide to trek out into the desert, which you know is going to take at least a few days to get where you need to go, you have a chance to equip yourselves and possibly talk to the locals, learn something about this trip before you head out there and what you might encounter. You have plot amount of money and can find things that make sense to be able to find to purchase. Yes, Brenda.
Can I buy that donkey?
You can't buy the donkey, but you may be able to rent a pack animal to use for a few days.
That
Actually,
specific, very cute donkey?
you'll have to ask the man in that is tending the donkey if you
Alright.
can rent the donkey,
Okay.
which you're welcome to do at this point. Let me know where you all would like to go and who you would like to
Does the
approach.
donkey come with one of those rental insurance policies?
Are you asking the man about renting the donkey?
I will, but I want to.
Okay,
I don't want to
sure.
like prevent us from organizing our thoughts first as far as what we want. All I want
Okay.
is that donkey.
Yes, Penny.
Have any of us traveled in this type of terrain before?
That's a
Is a
good
donkey
question.
a good idea, or do we want a camel?
So actually, Kamaria does have some experience with this sort of travel, but she hasn't really necessarily gone out into the desert herself, but she has kind of this sort of general traveling in odd terrain knowledge. So if you would like to do a mental challenge, we'll do
Ooh,
our
a
first
mental
challenge. We'll do a
We
10
need
points.
that daily double music from Jeopardy.
You
That's our first
Can
challenge.
I add cunning to it?
absolutely can.
Okay, so that means I've got a total of 4.
It's a pretty good spread.
Which is pretty good, but doesn't mean you can't. So if I guess an 8, that covers me from for 9, 10, 1, 2, and for 7, 6, 5, 4.
The number was 5. So,
No.
success. So yes, Kamaria, you know that heading out into the desert, you're definitely going to want a camel because not only are they going to be able to make do with a lot less water, which is going to be scarce, they also have the best feet for walking on sand.
They're just not as cute as the donkeys.
But donkeys are
Brenda.
cuter.
They're not as cute as the donkey. It is
It's
true.
not as cute as the donkey, but the donkey will be less cute when it's up to its knees in sand and dying.
No, I don't think I could handle the dying donkey, so we'll go with the camel.
Yes, Mike.
Do we know where this, I think you said ruined temple,
Yes.
that we're going to search for this amulet in? Do we know where it is, or is determining its location part of what we're doing here?
You do know where it is. It's a fairly well-known landmark.
Okay.
How come other people haven't gotten this amulet before us then?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
Maybe we should check the local trinket shops to see if it's for sale there.
Yeah, that'd be. There's gonna be knockoff amulets all day long, I'm sure.
Well, as part of the answer to that question, is the existence of the amulet like a well-known thing, or is this like esoteric knowledge we just happen to be aware of?
Oh, that is a good question. So, whoever would like to can actually make a 15-point mental challenge to try to determine the nuance of that particular situation, because it is something you all know about, but
Is it in my handbook of the magical practices of the White Order?
it absolutely is not.
Is it something that, as a white mage, is relevant at all to my practice of white magic?
No.
I still
Is
have a
it
mental of 4.
is it something because I brought it up, but Brenda is making the challenge? Thel can assist her on by sort of talking it through.
Sure.
Then I get to add a +1 to
That's
your
a 5,
attempt.
so that's a spread of 10. That's pretty dang good.
It's pretty
Feeling
dang good.
optimistic. It's a 15
Okay.
point spread, you said?
And I'll leap into her arms and start purring to give her the ability to focus a little more closely on.
Yes. Cat
I like that
focus.
you are making the best use of your cat ability.
I like it. Is a
very good.
cat. For
Is a-
folks who don't have the character descriptions in front of us, cat is actually a bolded and italicized term in Drake's little character stat sheet.
Drake's trait.
That's his trait.
That he's a cat.
He is a cat. This is perfect. All right, so this is 6 then. Okay. My random number generator to help me guess has given me 2. So 2 takes me from 8 to 2 minus 2, that's math. To 11.
Okay. The number was 6.
Yeah,
so
did
you've
it.
got it. Yes. So the thing is, this item is well known. People
Okay.
do know of its existence. It has significance culturally, religiously. However, none of you knew it was missing. So until recently. So the fact that you didn't know it was missing, even Drake didn't know it was missing, means that its absence has been hushed up.
Oh. So it's
So
an inside job.
the fact that it has been missing this whole time is not common knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
But we have reason to think that it's at this ruined temple.
Right. That's the last place you know of it having existed.
Right.
Oh. So we might not find it there. That might just be a step in our investigation to locate it.
It's entirely possible. You were hoping to at least find something when you go out there, because that's the last place that you know of that it existed.
All right. Well, Thel looks critically at Wen and says, Wen, are you going to buy a camel, or do I need to just take care of this?
Yeah, camel, water, food, white linen clothing, that's the shopping list.
I'll handle the food and water if you'll handle the camel.
Okay, cool.
All right.
It wouldn't be me playing a role-playing game if I didn't end up with some kind of pet, so.
I'll go with Wen to make sure that she doesn't get robbed blind.
And don't forget to buy a comfy little hammock that I can lay in with some sort of little sunshade.
Oh, between the 2 humps? Just suspended in between the 2 humps? With
a little cat-sized palanquin to put on top of the camel.
Yeah. That's perfect.
All right. Does Drake, are you going with them to buy a camel, or are you going with me to buy food and water?
I'll go with Ronwin.
Okay, sounds good. To make sure that your little palanquin or basket or whatever is to your standards.
Needs to be comfortable.
You can handle them doing the camel if you want first, Amanda, and I'll stand by. And then while they're, I'm hoping my experience is pretty straightforward, but well, I'll talk when it comes around to my scene.
Okay, sounds great. All right, so was Wen going to try to rent?
Where's the camel livery stable?
Well, it's not a terribly huge marketplace, so before
Sure.
too long you do notice an area where there seems to be a lot of animals, a lot of
Uh-huh.
different paddocks of livestock, and you find a man who is kind of attending them. Seems like he might be the person to ask about these animals. There are some donkeys and ponies and also a couple of camels.
Cool. Hello, person tending these animals. We need a camel.
Ah, you heading out into the desert, are you?
Yes.
Oh, what's a white mage doing heading out into the desert?
Vacation. I'm trying to
That
be a
seems
tan mage, if you know what I mean.
I don't know
Oh,
what you
okay.
mean.
Uh, so
Yes, Penny.
I mean, you told us that that people go to the old temple. It's not unknown.
Right, right.
So I'll pipe up and I'll say we're making a pilgrimage to the old temple. So we'll need to rent a camel for 3-4 days.
Pilgrimage. You're not one of them cultists, are you?
This is why we don't volunteer information. Yes, the White Order of Cultists. That's us. We just need a
There's no
camel. What does this guy need to do? Like a background check on camel purchasers? What's this deal?
It's a small town. This is what happens.
He's probably more bored than
He
anything.
needs to get a
I figure
freaking life.
he's probably more worried about how we're going to treat his camel. So like
That
I
is
want
that
to
is true.
reassure him that we're going to
I
use the
can-
camel gently for a couple of days and bring it back. We just want to rent it.
Right.
All right.
Does he have
But
a
if you're
table or
if you're-
something?
a table?
Or a counter? Well, like, is he just standing around there?
No, he's just leaning against a fence. He's wearing a big apron, so you imagine if he takes coin or anything, it's just in one of his apron pockets.
Okay. Well, I'm going to jump up on the fence and just try to distract him from thinking so much about the fact that we're pilgrims. Prance about on the fence and just kind of be a nuisance.
He does notice you being a nuisance, and he says, "Get out of here, cat. You're going to scare my animals." He's going to shoo you. He's going to say, "Look, if you're heading out to that temple, you're going to have to put down an extra security deposit. Those damned cultists are out there. They're shifty folks, dressed
Thanks,
all in layers of
Kamaria.
rags and little metal bits. You see them in town sometimes, but they don't show their faces. I don't know what they do out there, but I don't trust them."
Do I know what cultist he's talking about?
Yes, you do. This is the cult of the Banished Sons, which are the people that the last avatar of Kiara's were fighting when he died out there. So apparently, they're not all gone.
Well, we'd
Shifty
be
as
avoiding
the
them.
hands.
So I'm going to try and haggle.
Okay, you want to try to haggle with him?
Tell him about how we're gonna use the camel for like jumping over things too and overload it.
Uh,
I don't think that was a good strategy. Just go
no,
throw
I'm
that out
going to
there.
emphasize that like what reliable people we are and how we would never misuse a camel.
All right, he's pretty suspicious, so this is going to be a fairly challenging challenging mental challenge at this point. So that'll be 20 points.
All right, so
You've got his
I've
guard
got 3
up at this
mental,
point.
and I've got cunning, so that's 4. Is there anything the others could offer to help?
Know what sort of
Not
cat
me.
antics might Drake be getting up to this time?
All right.
There's only so much I can do as a cat, I think. So.
I'm going to go with 9.
9 is not going to do it. The number was 20.
Not gonna do it. Oh, all right.
He stands firm on the extra security deposit. But thankfully, you have enough coin to cover it comfortably. So he says, and you better bring it back in good
Right.
shape.
Sure.
All right. Was there anything else that you all wanted to do with the animal renter? I don't know what you would call this guy. I don't know what his actual title would be. The animal rent-a-center guy.
No, we got the
Stable.
camel. That's gonna be plenty to carry all of our stuff. That's
He'd
the
be a
important
Yes.
part.
stabler, I guess, right? He runs a stable.
Stabler?
So
Sure.
sure.
Animal husbander? I don't know.
That'd be if
Anyway.
he's breeding the camels, and he might be doing that too.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, meanwhile, back in the marketplace, I am going to use my trait of being observant to try to pick a food and water vendor that looks less shisty than anyone else, or if there's like public wells, just for us to buy a couple of skins that we can hang on the back of camels, plus one I can carry myself, and then enough rations to cover us for a week. Because you figure 2 days out, 2 days back, and misadventure in between. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just get a bunch of dried meat and dates and water skins, and get all of that pulled together as quickly and efficiently as I can, so we can stop screwing around and hit the trail.
Okay. You find a fairly neutral, not particularly suspicious looking shopkeeper who's selling basic provisions and are able to get everything that you need pretty easily.
Okay, I
Oh,
collect.
that's quite a stock of supplies you're taking out there, heading out into the desert.
I look at him somewhat circumspectly, and without answering him directly, say, "Is there anything going on these days that we would need to be concerned about if we were?"
Oh, well, you always have to be careful out in the desert. It's lots of danger out there. It gets very hot. Rest in the middle of the day if you can. And remember to keep warm at night. It gets colder than you think. There's also
Um,
there's beasts. Do be careful of the big beasts.
While
This
he's chatting, I've pulled out however much money I owe him, but I'm sort of playing with an additional coin in my hand now, beyond what I owe him for
Oh,
the food
okay.
and water skins. And I say, "Tell me about these beasts."
Oh, the sand rustlers. They're
What?
twice the size of a full-grown bull, and they have a hide like stone. No, I've never seen one myself, of course, but I've heard. I've heard all about them. There's another fellow came through here a few months back. Said he saw one. Terrifying.
I drop the coin on the stack and pull another one out of my pouch and sort of toy with it and say, uh, you know, uh, they sound pretty frightening, but people tend to be a lot more dangerous where I come from. Anything of that sort that travelers would need to be wary of?
No, I know what you're asking about. It's the cult of the Banished Sons.
I
Those
shrug.
murderous They're murderous maniacs, they are. More than a few unwary treasure seekers haven't made it back. Maybe the cult is guarding some treasure of their own, but I've heard they sacrifice folks to their evil gods.
Well, I give him the little bribe and being satisfied that I haven't given him any information about myself, unlike some chatty members of our party. I wrap everything up in a bundle and sling it over my shoulder and figure I can just haul it to wherever I need to go. I'll go to presumably there's a town square with a well. So I'll go there and wait for my friends to come by with their camel.
Do be careful now. Stay hydrated.
I thank him for that, and then I just go and wait to rendezvous with my friends and start filling the water skins so we can load them up when they get there.
Sounds good.
And
Has
presumably we
anyone?
have other gear like sleeping cloaks and just
Yeah, you have
standard stuff.
right. You have your basic like your bedrolls and that sort of thing, but your basic camping gear. You can start it. You already have what you need to start a fire, to do some basic cooking, to sleep.
When
Those
when
types
I
of
when
things
I
you have.
when I meet with my friends and we trade information, I convey to them what I had heard about the sand rustlers and the cultists and the conditions we needed to watch out for.
All right. Is there anything anybody else would like to do before you leave the desert border post? No, that sounds like a lot of no. Okay. Then without further ado, you head out into the desert with your rented camel and your supplies. The camel seems to be fairly well tempered as far as camels go. So you got lucky. This is a nice camel.
Well, as a shadow and someone who's naturally suspicious and wants to provide security for the party, I actually walk in the shadow of the camel to the greatest extent to minimize whether I'm actually seen initially by anyone who might harass us. And being observant, I'm keeping my eyes open as we walk across the desert on presumably what is like a fairly well-traveled trail, but I'm keeping my eyes out for anything that might be rustling up through the sand or
Specifically looking for rustling.
or exactly or cultists or anything else. So as we travel, I just remain vigilant and observant and prepared for any eventualities.
Sounds good. Well, your first day and night in the desert pass pretty uneventfully. There's lots of sand. It's hot. Not much else is happening. You don't really encounter anybody else either. It doesn't seem like anyone else has decided that this is the best time to go wandering out into the desert. On the second day, however, as you're about halfway through the day, it's getting pretty hot. You were thinking maybe it's time to rest. But then you spot something up ahead. And it looks like this.
Hmm.
Ooh. It's a sand rustler.
Looks like it's what I would think a sand rustler looks like.
Is it
It's
moving?
not its most flattering angle. It's not moving. It's just sitting there. So it's a
Sleeping.
large creature. You can tell it's a large creature. And it seems to have a hard carapaced kind of body in several ridged armored sections, similar to an armadillo. That's about all you can tell from this angle, though.
And about how big would the thing be?
It's probably about 8 feet tall at the highest.
From what we can see.
From what you can see, yeah. It's a little ways off, though, so you're not like...
blocking us, is it?
No, you could easily go around it.
We would like to easily go around it.
I don't want to be cowardly or unengaged, but I think going around it's got to be the smart thing to do. I don't see any upside to going and messing with this thing. I'm not going to be going all Moadib on it.
Look,
So,
there's no experience points to be had by murdering this animal. So
so much for mechanics not influencing story.
What if it has the amulet?
oh shit,
Oh.
it might.
Drake
Might have
brings up a
swallowed
very
it.
good
That
point.
doesn't even make any sense. Why would a sand rustler have an amulet?
It could have swallowed the person who
Ate-
had the
Ate the
amulet.
person who was wearing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, do we know if sand rustlers swallow people? Are they herbivores? What did they do? Do we know anything about these freaking animals? I want a mental challenge. Give me one.
absolutely. Go ahead and take a 10-point mental challenge.
10-point mental challenge. Cool.
May I contribute to this because I'm the one who actually got the initial information on sand rustlers and could then possibly contribute something that
I
would
guess 4.
You sure can. So
All
what? All right. The Thel is trying to
But
bring up
if Thel helps,
what he
then my
remembers.
range is 10. So
So your range is 10. You easily you ace this challenge.
Yeah.
You realize, wait a second, we haven't seen any other significantly sized animals the whole time we've been out here.
Right.
This thing can't possibly be a carnivore. It would starve.
No, it's not
sense.
moving.
You're right, it's not moving. But maybe it's a filter feeder.
It could be. You mean
Yeah.
like a baleen whale, that sort of
Yeah,
thing?
something like that. It just sifts through the sand. Either way, it's not eating us, and we can leave it alone.
So
Not
it
gonna
eats
eat.
sand fleas like a whale would eat krill.
Right. Can we ride them?
You have no idea.
Okay, well. Somewhere
But you're
off
pretty
in the
sure
distance,
it's
there's a couple of
not
people
gonna.
all covered in clothes with hooks, and they're just waiting for us to leave.
I feel like we're kind of playing Elven Door with this thing. Do we want to
The
go invest?
Oh no, not Elven Door.
Elven
No.
Door. Which is
No,
to say,
no, we-
talking about it a lot, but staying the hell away from it.
I think we've overcome this challenge successfully.
by agreeing just to avoid
By
it.
agreeing to leave it alone.
I'm inclined to agree.
All right, so you're gonna try to just go around it.
We are
I
going
would
to
like
try.
to get
love
close
to.
enough to be able to look at it, to
Good
sort of
grief, she has to
see
get
what the other
close to
side
it.
looks like.
So Kamaria is going to split the party
Yeah.
and go look at this thing while the rest of us go around
I'm
it.
not talking
Ignore
about going
everybody
up.
else's better judgment.
I'm not talking about going up and like knocking on its shell. I'm talking about getting within 50 feet of it just to sort of have a look at what it is.
Yeah, so everyone else, what kind of a berth are you giving this thing, the rest of you who are going around it? Are you keeping it within eyesight, or are you trying to like put a dune between it and you?
I'd say keep it in eyesight because it'll behoove us to know if it's moving, and we want to keep Kamaria in sight in case we have to help her.
Right.
But keep the same distance from it as we go around it as we are from it when we initially spotted it. That's what I would say.
Okay.
I'm watching it carefully, and at the first sign of movement, I'm going to head sideways.
Futilely flee from it? Is that what you said?
Tactical with retreat.
Yeah, tactical withdrawal. So as you're kind of getting a little bit closer to it, Kamaria, you notice that it does seem to notice you. It looks over in your direction, and it kind of gives a couple little like curious snuffles.
What's it look like on the other side? I mean, this is the tail end, right?
That is the tail end. So what it looks like on the other side is that.
Wow.
Typecasting.
He's so friendly.
I like it.
It's
Wow.
just like a big armadillo creature. So the rest of the description of this creature reads that it has a broad, fleshy head, ringed with stubby horns. Its forelegs are short and stout, and it burrows through the sand with its belly nearly submerged, kicking up great clouds of sand around it.
And sand
Well-
wrestler.
While this beast looks intimidating, it is actually quite docile. So it sees you, and it seems kind of curious about you, but it doesn't move any closer.
Well, and I don't, unlike the picture, I don't go up and pat it.
That is okay. It goes back to burrowing its nose in the sand.
There's got to be something good in there.
All sorts of good stuff if you're a sand wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a sand wrestler. Right.
All the better that we don't touch it. We don't want to get leprosy.
Exactly.
You'll get super leprosy
Super
because it's
mega
so big.
leprosy.
I
Yeah.
high five Gwen on that one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yay, no leprosy.
Yay.
Can I heal that if it ever came up?
Yes, you could.
Nice.
Drake stands up in his little palanquin, stretches, and then lays down and goes back to sleep.
Like you do.
Fuck you, dude.
As they
Like
do.
18 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much the only eventful thing that happens the whole rest of the day. So you've been trudging through the desert for a couple of days now, and then towards sunset on the second day, a structure begins to form on the horizon. Just as the sun is setting, you reach the imposing stone monument. A cracked and crumbling trapezoidal temple of sandstone juts out of the sand drifts. It stands some 30 feet high, topped with identical towers at the east and west end, and a ring of damaged pillars around a low dais in the center of the roof. A short walkway runs around the lower edge, with stairs leading up to low doorways on the lower levels of the temple, one on each side. It looks like... Oh, come on. Nope. Next frame. Nope. Where'd it go? Oh. My image ran away! Hold on just a moment while I get that back. Give me just a second to pull that back up. I will show you what it looks like. I don't know where it went, but it was there. It looks like that.
There it is.
Hey, cool.
Yay, there it is. I promise I was prepared at one point, but that is what it looks like.
Before we get any closer to it, being observant and suspicious, I'd like to just sort of scan the ruins of the temple and the area around it to see whether I detect any sort of movement or possible threats, presence of cultists before we get any closer and set up our camp.
Sure. So if you want to do that, that'll be a 15-point challenge.
Okay.
Mental challenge, sorry, to be specific. 15-point mental challenge to scan the area for cultists.
All right.
From this distance.
Well, I only have a mental of 2, but I am observant, so that would extend my range to 3.
Yes.
You know what? I'm going
should
to
all
be
be able to hop in and help look for things, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to be
makes
meta,
sense.
and I'm going to say, hold up, you guys. Before we get any closer to this thing, let's give it a good look and see if we could see anything else moving around there, okay?
So if
I say,
everybody helps, that would be another +3.
Yeah.
Wake up, Drake. You were more energetic before you were a cat. Take a look and help me with this if you would.
Sure, I'll use my slightly different range cat vision to see what I can see in the shadows and whatnot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So if all 3 of the other characters are helping, that gives me a +3. And that adds to the 3 I had for my mental of 2 and my trait of being observant. So that gives me a range of 6.
Yes.
And the challenge is what? How many points?
15 point.
So let's see. If I were to go with 9, that would take me all the way up to 15, and it would take me down to 3. Right? Is my math good on this? And it would be only if it were a 1 or a 2 that I would fail on. So I'll do that. I'll go with a 9.
All right. It was a 5. So you succeed. And you do not see anybody around. However, you do see that the sand looks disturbed. So maybe there
Does it
have
look
been
rustled
people
or
doesn't
Rustled
look,
or walked on by humanoid feet?
yeah.
doesn't look rustled. Looks
Rustled.
like it maybe has been walked on by people sometime. Not
Recently,
terribly long ago.
Yeah, right, because the wind would have blown over and covered the tracks, right? Okay.
You would assume so.
So we
Coming
can
or
count on
going?
running into people in this temple.
I think we probably have to. Do the tracks look like they're going toward the temple or coming away from it?
Good
You
question.
just see a bunch of scuffed up looking tracks. There's been enough wind that you can't tell which direction they were going in. And you didn't crit, so.
Right, exactly. Well, we will be cautious as we approach. And is there a protocol for where you camp at the ruined temple? Have we heard anything about,
I mean,
you?
from the information that we've received, there's only cult protocols that are involved with this place. Like regular people, goodly folks don't go here.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting that.
Hmm.
Well,
Okay, I cast invisibility on the party.
Unfortunately, that is outside the range of your white magic powers. You cannot cast invisibility.
Summon light, though.
You can summon light, which will make it easier to see.
Okay. That might be relevant. I don't know. I'm not going to jump to action at this second. I don't know what we're going to do.
Are you getting up to the temple yet, or are you all still like giving it some space and snooping?
No, I don't see any reason to wait. I think Penny's trying to ask something, but in the meantime, we'll just continue on toward the temple.
What's up, Penny?
What do we know in terms of when was it wrecked and when? Or sorry, when was it wrecked and why and how?
So what you know is that 24 years ago, the previous avatar of Kiara's, a man named Amit, and the high priestess of Nura, a woman named Bila, faced off with the cult of the Banished Sons here. There was a big battle wherein Amit summoned his big Kiara's powers and kind of blew everything up in a big magical explosion. So about 24 years ago is when this temple got well and truly wrecked.
So was there a town here before?
No, it was still pretty isolated. It's pretty much always just been a place where the cult has come and hid.
So, does Drake have any residual memory of this, or is that not how it works?
No, he does not have any residual memory of it. This is all information that you all gathered from talking to Bila previously. That's why you got sent here, is that she's the one who told you.
So my contribution here would be, I realize the picture isn't exactly representative, but if there's a shadowy side, maybe we should start there.
Sure.
Yep.
So we're just going to jump straight into our search.
Cover, a little more concealment, that sort of thing.
We're going to sneak up in the shadows.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I can only agree with that plan.
How do cultists feel about cats?
We'll find out.
Guess you will.
Hopefully we won't find out.
All right, so you're approaching on the sun is setting, so that'd be the east side. That'd be in shadow. You're approaching from the east side and coming up to one of the temple. Are you going up to the doorway, or are you still just kind of scoping around the outside?
Doorway,
at this point?
that darker spot on the side there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. There is a similarly sized doorway on each side.
Oh.
Each one corresponding with one of the four elements.
Well, each one corresponding with one of the four cardinal directions.
Earth door, water door, fire door, air door. We're on the same page. I get it.
I think you're channeling at the Shrine of Authors.
I think I wrote this many years before I knew anything about At the Shrine of Authors.
No, I meant Brenda's channeling at the Shrine of Authors, not that you are.
One of the doors that seems to be on the shady side. Maybe we should try that one.
That would be the eastern door.
Yeah.
So we could start with that.
Yep.
All right. Well, as you approach the eastern door, a figure rushes out of the darkened doorway. Every part of their body, other than their wild eyes, is covered by layers of tan fabric. They make no cry, but charge at you with a large rusted knife in their raised hand.
Freaking rude.
It is quite rude, yes. You are correct.
At least we found them.
You did. All right, so we're going to say that over here, we're on slide 2 now, so come on over to slide 2. This is the party. I'm going to add your opponent. Feel free to put yourselves where... Oh my gosh, he's enormous.
Big.
Let's make him smaller.
So it's a sand giant?
Yeah.
No. It's an improperly sized token.
What are we supposed to be seeing?
On the jam board.
Over to the second page on the jam board, Penny.
Go over to slide 2.
Ah, okay.
Yep.
I don't need to move my location. I'm a warrior. I don't mind taking on this guy.
This guy is rushing at you with a giant rusty knife.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I'm going to whip out my twin short swords, and as he comes at me, I'm going to try to sidestep his knife and hit him in the forehead with the pommel of a short sword to subdue him so that we can figure out what's going on with him. I'd rather not kill him just in case this is a misunderstanding. and because we could get some information from him. So I'm going to try to knock him out with the pommel of my short sword. And if the other characters want to participate in the challenge, as we know in this game, everybody who participates in a challenge is subject to any ill effects associated with it if the challenge is failed.
Right.
So I'm not going to tell people they have to jump in, but if anyone does want to help me subdue or grapple him, that would be great.
So I don't want to help do that, but while you and the others are doing that, I want to slip past him to see if there are more in the room. Hugging the wall, being a cat, being very stealthy and shadowy.
Super smart.
Excellent. Okay,
I'm
so
going to prepare my dagger to throw.
Nice.
Does that mean you are participating with me in the challenge of doing this guy, or no?
I am participating, yep.
Okay.
So that would add a +2 from Kamaria,
right?
+1 for the short sword. So you would end up with 6.
I'd have physical 3 gives me 3, right? And then my short sword gives me 4.
Yep.
Right. 1 for Kamaria, 1 for Kamaria's dagger. That gives 6.
Yep.
What are you doing, Ronwin?
I'm not going to participate in this challenge.
No, but see, that's not necessarily a bad idea.
Out of the
because
way.
if we end up getting stabbed or injured,
if y'all end up stabbed, I need to be not stabbed so that I can help you with your stabbing. Yeah.
No, there's reasons not to have everyone participate.
That's right.
Okay, so that would give us last question. That would give us a range of a 6. Does my observant help because it would give me a few seconds of extra lead time as the person rushes out of the darkness?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So that kind of gives me initiative. So that gives me a 7 on
initiative. Isn't a thing in this game.
No, it's not. But
it is a word.
But narrative, it is a word, and this is a narrative game. So I have gained initiative, not mechanically, but narratively.
Yes.
What's my number range again? What's the
15-point physical?
Oh, and I've got a 7. Oh, well, that's not bad
You're good
at
for
all.
14 of those 15.
You literally have to just not miss the one number.
And you watch, it's going to be a 15. All right, I'm going to go with 8, so that the only number I miss is a 1.
It was a 6.
All right.
Well, good.
All right. So how exactly were you trying to subdue
as he rushes at me,
crazed individual with their large knife?
As he rushes at me, my intent is to sidestep his attack, trip him with my foot, and as he trips, bang the pommel of my short sword square into the middle of his forehead to knock him out, and then have Kenny jump in, Kamaria jump in, and help me tie him up.
All right.
That would be the way I would do it.
Sounds good. You have successfully knocked this person out. They're lying insensate in the sand at this point. Also, Drake has managed to slip by and enter. Are you actually entering into the doorway, Paul? Yes. Okay. Well, somebody moved the sticky note, so I guess so. Paul is muted.
It's fine.
Meow.
You're still muted.
It's an affirmative kind of face that he's given.
It is.
Yes. So anyway, I go in. Sorry, I moved the block by accident.
No, you're fine.
I assume I see a staircase here or something.
You see a spiral staircase leading up. This is just a small entryway. There's no one else right here.
Okay. Well, I'll saunter back to the entrance and call that to the rest of the group.
All right. So, rest of the group, Drake has let you know that there's nobody else right nearby. You have this person knocked out and tied up now in the sand. What would you like to do?
See if he's got anything interesting on him
with them? Okay. So you see when you search over this person, he's dressed in layers of linens and burlap. His clothes are all decorated with neutral colored ribbons of rags held in place by small metal pins in the shape of little suns.
Cute.
If you pull back the covering on his face a little bit, you see that his face is covered with all sorts of horrible scars and open sores and the like.
Based on the iconography of the little suns, is that a cult symbol or
You do not recognize it as the symbol of the only other sun deity that is normally recognized, so you would have to assume so.
that assume that he's probably one of the cultists?
Right.
All right, you know what I would propose when this guy is obviously under psychological and physical duress. I think we should interrogate him and get as much information as we can. But if you tried to heal him, which his own people were not able to do, that might be something that would induce him to giving you information. I think that's better than trying to sweat him or threaten him.
Yeah, no, let's give that a shot.
Okay, so
Is
you're
this
going
in
to
my
try.
handbook, Amanda?
Yes, it is. Would you
Okay.
like to try to diagnose what the issue is?
Yeah.
What is wrong with this person? Sure. So that's going to be a 15-point mental challenge if you would like to try to diagnose what is wrong with this person.
He's been knocked out.
Other than the part where you knocked him unconscious.
Yeah, he's
Got a
unconscious.
sort of pommel-sized lump in the middle of his head.
All right, so between being a white mage and this being in my handbook, I have a 6.
Okay.
Can me being observant assist when with her diagnosis?
Sure.
Then
Okay.
that gives me an 8.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and guess.
So you know exactly what is wrong with this guy, because if you have an 8-point spread, you have completely
16.
covered over a
Yes.
15.
I bring out the
Yeah.
best in when.
You really do. You're so great. You recognize the various sores and other blemishes and scars on this person as melanomas, as well as several burns and scars from burns.
Horrible.
They're doing funky things out in the sun. Okay.
As
Magically
cultists
heal
do.
it. I mean, I think that's as good a motivator as any other, as Thel suggested.
Right. You won't be able to do anything at this point about the more advanced damage, like the melanoma. That would take a lot longer and a lot more energy than you have right now. But you could heal any of like the open sores or more recent burns.
Unless those are like symbols of faith, and he's gonna be pissed off because I don't know anything about how these people practice their religion.
That's a great question. Would anybody like to try to
I would
recall
like to know
if they know anything about how these guys practice their religion?
Yeah, I would love to know.
Go for it. That's also going to be a 15-point mental.
Here we go. I'm guessing it's not in my handbook.
It is absolutely not in your handbook.
And I don't think I can validly help with this one.
Oh well. All right. I'm gonna guess a 1.
Do I remember anything from the first few years as a child
yes.
when I was in the temple?
Drake might have picked up some.
Okay.
Drake can help. Drake might be
Yes,
able to
after all, I am a
remember
priest. So
yes. Drake is
so I say.
technically a priest. All right, so what does that put your spread at?
11 to 6.
11 to... Wait, are you
Yeah.
rapping?
It's rapping.
Rapping? Okay, so you do not make it.
Oh! Too clever by far. Well, on the other
hand... I don't know, this guy looks messed up. I don't know why.
The answer to your question will become evident if you do heal this guy and he's pissed off about it. Then we'll know.
That's true. So you're telling me it was a 12?
It was... So it went 11... No, it was an 8.
Oh, it was an 8. Yeah, no, I definitely missed it.
Yeah. You went 11, 12, 13,
yeah,
14,
no,
15. Yeah.
We just don't know. That's all.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
Does he have anything valuable on him?
Night.
No. He has a rusty knife and
those little star pins.
his little sun pins.
Oh, sun.
That's it.
Sun is.
We should probably take away the rusty knife. Somebody with
Really?
hands.
I add rusty knife to
Good
my
call,
equipment.
Drake. All right, so are you going to try to heal him? You decided that's what you want to do.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Okay.
let's commit some heresy.
I mean, that's an assumption. That's an assertion. It might not be true.
Does it count as heresy if it's heresy to a heretic?
It doesn't count as, yeah, right. It's heresy if you're violating your religion, not if you're violating his.
I don't know if that's how heresy works. Anyway, what's my range?
Very nuanced. You don't have to. You've got this. You know how to heal minor burns. It's fine. So you start to heal this guy, and he wakes up screaming in a rage. And
I thought so.
Says, "What are you doing? Get away from me! How dare you!
I'm fixing your face.
Don't touch me! Get away from me!"
Threaten to finish fixing his face if he doesn't talk.
Yeah, if you don't tell us everything we want to know, I'm gonna fix your face.
I will never give information to you.
I fix his face more.
Oh, no, you're terrible.
I'll heal you.
My sparkly little fingers. I heal more of his face.
I'm watching and listening because this guy's made quite a ruckus and he's probably got friends.
Yes, he starts screaming bloody murder. No longer at all coherent. He's just screaming as loud as he possibly can.
Can I gag him as a free action?
Sure. He's already been screaming for a little while, but you sure can now.
He screamed on his way out. I have a feeling this is just how these people are.
They were like, oh, well, he's screaming again. Yeah, don't worry about it.
So I'll be right inside there where I still am, by the doorway, keeping an eye on the stairs.
Sure. Okay, so you're keeping an eye on the stairs. So you've gagged him now.
Well,
are you going to do anything? Are you going to do anything else with this guy? You've fixed a fair amount of his face. He seems rather displeased about it.
When is your magic of the sort that you could actually draw memories or impressions from his mind? Could you actually do some kind of a mental probe?
No, unless he was under some kind of persuasion that I might be able to banish or purify away or something.
Yeah, if you were possessed,
yes, right,
by an actual presence that was foreign to him,
right,
then she could.
Yeah.
The whole thing with white magic is that it's returning things to their rightful order.
Right.
Right.
Well, is he possessed?
Wen could, in fact, try to see if he's possessed. That one will be a 15-point mental challenge if you would like to see if he's possessed.
All right. Why not?
Sure. That would be in your handbook.
This one's in my handbook. Got it. Cool.
Yep,
All right. So that gives me a range of 12 on a 15-point challenge. I'm going to just keep it simple. Guess 7.
All right. You are... No, it was a 9, so you're fine.
All right.
You're quite confident that this person is not possessed. They're just a fanatic.
Okay.
Yeah. There's all sorts of things that can be wrong with people where there's nothing wrong with them.
Right.
Right.
Well, this guy's kind of run his course, huh?
Just kind of thrashing in the sand, gagged, not really able to get anywhere because you have him tied up. So.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking around like, okay, I got my knife out.
Okay, I think we go into the building now.
Yeah, well, or up the stairs, I guess, right?
Yeah.
We'll leave this guy tied up really securely. And you know what? Has the camel got bells on its bridle or something? maybe I'll put like something on this guy so there'll be something we can hear if someone comes to untie him or rescue him.
Oh, sure. You can find a jingly bit of tack that you could borrow from your camel.
What if we
Just so
bury
we'll-
him up
so
to
we don't-
his neck?
Well, it seems like a lot of work.
And then dump ants on him.
Yeah. All right, into the building.
Into the building.
dark?
Well, as
Is it bright?
it's fairly dim. So as you enter inside the building, there's this little like vestibule area where Drake has been hanging out, but you can see that the space kind of opens up past that. You can't see much until you start getting into it, but it does look like there's a bit of an open area just past there. It's pretty dim. You're waiting for your eyes to adjust.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a fog of war thing. I thought it was just yellow floor.
No! I just want you to see everything that's in the building before you got in it.
Are those post-it notes?
They are post-it notes. It
That's
was
brilliant.
like easiest way to put big squares
Yeah.
on Jamboard.
Right.
I'm going to use that next time.
The Foggit notes.
They're
Fog
Foggit notes. All right. So as you start moving in, I can just go ahead and get rid of that one. This is the area that you can see so far. This is the lower level of the temple. It's a sandstone building. The floor is worn pretty smooth from people being in it for quite a while. Everything, floor, ceiling, walls are all the same kind of plain sandstone. Over in the corner where Drake is now, this appears to be something like a ceremonial space. It's a fairly large open area. The walls and the floor are painted with icons of twin blazing suns, blazing through the sky and burning the land. There are a series of braziers set around on thin-legged iron stands, and in each one there's a handful of coals smoldering, which is emitting the small amount of light that you have in this place at this point. On the opposite side, where Thel is now, you've got a communal dining area. You've got a couple of rough wooden tables, some stools and stuffed cushions, and you see a few food crumbs and scraps around, but not much else. You do see that there's a couple of walls. It looks like another little alcove type area, but you can't really see into it until you get closer because it's pretty dim in here.
Well, this is the ground floor?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Ben, are you magically able to illuminate this area to do away with any?
I sure am. Yeah, I can summon light, so especially if that'll aid in searching the space. I'll go ahead and do that.
Hooray, light.
So
All
these
right.
are the various doors from the cardinal directions that led into this area that we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay. North, south, east, and west.
So now you can see the one little alcove area is a small kitchen. It's pretty neat and tidy. It's partitioned off a little bit, but it's open entirely on one side. It's a kitchen. There's a couple of work surfaces, pots and pans, utensils, knives, that sort of thing. Unmarked clay jars of spices and other ingredients, and stacks of dishes.
Now, is it presumable that this originally would have been a worship area and not really adapted for, cultists to live in? Or would this have always been like a living area and the temple part would have been up on the platform up top?
Yeah, it looks like this has been used as a living space for a very long time. You're not sure if this was necessarily always the intention, but most people of religious orders tend to live pretty simply, so you wouldn't be surprised if it had always been like this.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
But no
Yeah, so there are a couple of walls with doors that you cannot see past at this point. So.
Do I see any tells, like 3 plates sitting on the table or something like that would indicate there were more people other than this guy?
You do not see any other plates or anything out. There are quite a few different plates and serving dishes stacked up in the kitchen, but nothing that is currently looks like it has just been used and not washed or anything. So you can't tell how much use has been on any of these.
I'm going to check the other doors. Are they locked from the
All
inside?
right. So as you approach over here, you actually notice that there's a wooden door down in, where's my laser pointer? There's a wooden door over here, but there's some wooden interior walls, but this right here is just a curtain.
Ah. Well, if there was somebody in there, they definitely heard us.
Well, for sure.
Well, if it's a curtain, I'm a little cat, so I'm
Yeah.
going to go over to the little curtain and stick my little head through,
Gonna stick your little
underneath,
head in? Would
using
you like
my cat night vision.
would you like to give me a 20-point physical challenge to
Jesus,
be
no, your
super
little
quiet?
hand's gonna get cut off.
To be super quiet and sneaky. You
Oh.
are a cat.
Okay.
So, do I get a +1 for being a cat?
You sure do.
Yeah,
Okay,
great.
that makes it a 4-point 4 points. Let's go with 12, so 8 to 16.
You are so quiet and sneaky. Your tiny little paws make no noise.
Good cat.
Good cat.
You're also black, so you blend in with the gloom of this space, which, once you have poked your little head in, you see is a sleeping area. And there are, in fact, about half a dozen other people lying in this area asleep.
Oh.
One of them does seem to be getting a little bit restless, doing that kind of like tossing and turning, am I going to get up, am I not thing.
Mm-hmm.
That guy
They
just
have
does
not-
scream all the time. It didn't even wake him up.
It's a heavy curtain.
Heavy
He's
curtain.
always screaming.
Does that.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's if he's, I don't want to tempt fate if he's about to wake up, so I'll come out here
Does
and
my
whisper
healing
to
magic
the
cover anesthesia?
No.
Damn it.
let
Canonically,
everybody.
just as a side note, healing magic kind of sucks because there is no anesthesia. They're gonna fix you, but it's not gonna be fun.
Does your
Yeah.
magic have any sort of divinations that would allow us to know if the amulet was nearby?
Do I divine? Am I divine?
No.
No.
Are divine.
Thanks. Appreciate that. All right, we got more doors to check, but we have to check them quietly.
Be really quiet at this point.
Quietly.
Though I'm ready to stab anybody who comes through that curtain that isn't a cat.
Could just stack the
Ready to-
trestle tables up against the doorway and kind of table
Ready
them
to
in.
action. Stabbing.
Yeah, stacking doors. I'm sorry, stacking tables in front of doorways is a clever idea.
That is a clever idea. Do we want to do it?
Sure.
That'll slow him down anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
I'm
Can
pretty
light
strong.
A fire in the room as well, and then just hold the tables.
Yeah, I
I'm
asked
sorry, this is a
Kamaria-
different character.
I'm gonna say
You're doing
you and I should trade characters.
Right.
I asked Kamaria to help me quietly stack the tables, and
Yeah.
I observe that it's great that the cat always comes up with ideas that other people have to do. He can take a quick nap while we're moving the tables.
Well, I can't do much, so I have plenty of time to loaf around and think about things
Thank
other people could do for me.
For the suggestion, Drake.
After we move the tables, I look into the kitchen. I'm going to steal the world's greatest cultist mug. I know they'll kill each other over how that mug disappeared.
Yeah.
Where's my mug?
Oh no.
Right, you gotta scream.
I'm the world's greatest cultist. Dang it.
I'm gonna quietly check the other doors.
Sure. So the other doorway's out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So
kind of-
there's you don't run into anybody. You can just see out into the desert. The sun has gotten a little bit lower below the horizon at this point. You're in a nice twilight.
So it's just an opening. It's not a door.
It's just an opening.
Mhm.
Okay.
On the north, south, east, and west outer walls.
All right.
Right. It's a doorway, not a door.
Mhm.
I come check this southeastern
Whichever one it is.
post-it area.
It's a storeroom. So you find it's a little stone alcove with stone walls and a wooden door. Inside, you find barrels of water and ale, as well as barley, wheat flour, and oats. There's also several sacks of dried beans and root vegetables, and a rope of dried sausage hanging from the ceiling. One entire wall of the storeroom is covered in clay jars full of oil and a couple wooden bins of coal. There are also a few bundles of cloth and a locked wooden box.
Oh, I summoned Kamaria. Isn't Kamaria a thief? Isn't she good at opening stuff?
I can.
I call Kamaria and say, I found a locked wooden box. Question. Can the rope of sausage function as both a rope and a sausage?
Not terribly well, because the
Not terribly
connection
well as which?
as a rope.
But it's excellent as a sausage.
It's perfectly edible dried sausage. The connection between each link is just a tiny bit of very dry casing. It would maybe support about 2 pounds before it snapped. So, not very good for
A
rope.
wretched rope.
I'm going to try and open this box.
Okay.
First, I'm going to have a careful look at it and
Yes. It's just
Um,
locked. If
it's
you
just,
had key, you
all
could
right.
easily open it. But you can go ahead and try to pick it open.
I will try and pick it open.
Okay, that's going to be a 20 point. It's actually going to be a mental challenge because this is actually a lot more about thinking your way through what the box
Right.
is doing in response to you than brute force.
Can I use cunning?
Absolutely.
All right, so that gives me 4.
Yes, Mike.
Can she use? Can Thel assist? And can the fact that he's observant be useful in this regard?
Please make your case as to how Thel is helping her pick a lock.
By stabilizing the box that keeps shifting around, by looking at where she's putting the tool and being observant, saying, no, pull it a little
That
more.
sounds like more of a detriment than a help. So I'm going to say no.
Can I use my dagger so that if
That's a good
there's
question.
She
if-
shoos me
Sure.
away. I recuse myself from this challenge.
But more importantly, if we braid the
Isn't it-
sausage rope, does it make a stronger sausage rope that the cat?
You experiment with that on your own time and get back to me. Let me know how it
Sausage rope
goes.
of Rapunzel.
so I'm going to use my dagger, so that'll give me a range 5 for a range of
Yes.
11.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with an 18.
All right, you're going with an 18, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gets you from
13 to
Mm,
3.
3.
yes, okay. It was a 20.
Yay!
So success. The box pops open after a few minutes of fiddling and some cursing.
Being observant, I peek over her shoulder to see what's in it.
All that is inside is a handful of coins.
9.
Well,
You found their cash box.
All right.
I don't want to be petty, however. So just as a development note, are you going to change the phraseology in the scenario when we release it so it no longer says sausage rope and it says strand of sausage links instead?
No.
Bold.
If people want to argue about ropes of sausage, knock
But
yourselves
if
out.
you add in braided sausage rope, that's probably a unique 3-word phrase in the English language. So that would.
Yeah.
It sounds like an editorial
That means
decision.
it would be bolded and italicized.
That sounds like a game creator development decision. I think we're going to have to go that way.
What knot do you think is the strongest knot on our sausage rope?
Square knot.
Square knot.
Not worst.
Not worst. Not
Not first.
I knew where that one was
that,
going.
Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
You're welcome.
All right.
Right. So I got some cash.
There's not a secret compartment in the bottom of the box.
No.
The amulet compartment, as we call
That's a
it,
good question.
where I
though.
come from.
All right,
Kamaria
one
did a
more-
good job.
One more area to check.
I'm also
Yes.
going to stock up on like anything small and portable and edible that I can just stick in my pocket.
Can take some sausage.
We brought food.
You could
Kamaria
wear
wants,
it as a
Sausage
belt.
rope. I would have
Bandolier.
remembered.
Kamaria wants a bandolier of sausages, apparently.
Look, they have cake. I'm taking the cake. So
They do not have cake. It's all pretty boring. A lot of stuff that seems kind of salty. Maybe they need to replenish their electrolytes pretty frequently out here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so last door. When are you going to that one?
Against my better judgment. Yep.
I'll back her up.
Hey, you
Oh,
found
it's the privy.
the privy.
Okay.
Smells terrible.
Yep. We can close that door.
Yes.
so are those stairways going up or down?
They're going up.
Both
So
sets?
this is yes. So basically you see that this other end here is just a mirror image of the first one that you came through. It has another doorway leading out and another spiral staircase leading up.
Hey, did we take a careful look at that ritual area?
Not very. No.
I'm
Like
gonna
to see if there's an amulet there?
There's some almost burned out braziers and
Right.
2 different suns,
Two
right?
suns.
Right.
I mean, what does the amulet even look like? But it would be dumb to miss it because
We're just gonna take any amulet we come across.
Yeah.
Anything vaguely amulet-like.
Right.
Ours now. So
It
would you like
suck
to?
if one of those cultists sleeping in that room was wearing the amulet.
Yeah, it would. So would you like to search this area?
Yes.
All right.
somebody more
Anyone?
observant than me should maybe do the
Well,
And-
I'm observant, but the smartest person in the group is definitely Wen. So I will assist Wen in doing a
Okay.
search if he wants to search the area.
Sure. I will give
Sure.
a studied eye to this ritual space.
15-point mental challenge
All
to
right.
study this space.
With Thel's help, it's a 12-point range. So
Okay.
I'm gonna guess a 7.
So that takes you from
1 to 13.
1 to 13. Looks like a ritual space.
It was a 14? Really?
It was a 15.
Yes. Why didn't anyone else help? What were you mooks doing? Fighting over the sausage rope?
For what it's worth, they can take a crack at that challenge.
They can.
I'm guarding the
How
Well,
would
they
you back at that
They could
challenge?
do it together now if they wanted, or separately.
Yeah, somebody else come watch this stupid curtain. I'm gonna come over
All right,
and
I'll go watch here. I'll
Yeah,
go
right.
watch the
Yeah,
stupid
we'll
curtain.
go watch
and
the
I'll
damn
go
curtain.
if Kamaria wants to, look, I'll be happy to sniff along the floor and
You
get
have a-
real close to it since I'm only 6 inches from the.
You have a unique vantage. That is true.
Well, that's where
What does that
his
give us, a
cat
range of
trait
5 or 6?
gives him a bonus.
Guess 14. That's the number.
What range
15,
do
it
we
was
have?
15.
15.
It's
No,
a
but I mean,
15
like,
point mental challenge.
yeah, but I can put together 4, and
Right.
what bonus
Yep.
do I get from Drake? 2, so that's a
Right.
range of 6.
Yep.
I'm
Yes.
gonna go with 11.
11. All right. And the number was a 6.
Ah, well then you're good.
So you got it.
Okay.
So, you search all around this area. It is a pretty barren space. It looks like the only things in this are the braziers that you noticed before. There's some soot on the floor around them, so they seem to be used pretty much constantly. Sooty stains on the ceiling from where they're constantly smoking into the stone ceiling, and just the paintings that are around. You don't see any other objects in this area.
Okay.
So it's a barren space with prints, but nothing else that counts.
Okay.
Can you describe the 2 paintings again?
Sure. So on the floor, you just have the icons of the two different sun icons. They're obviously both meant to be suns. They're radial celestial patterns with like oranges and yellows, but they don't look the same as the primary sun deity that you all recognize. They're both a little bit different. The icons don't look anything like what you're used to seeing. And then on the walls, you have a couple of different images with these suns. On one wall, you just have the two of them in the heavens, blazing away, looking awesome. And on the other wall, you have them touching the surface of the earth and burning it.
This is what heresy looks like when. Graphic representation.
I'm going to spit on the images on the floor.
Sounds good.
And now we should quit pushing our luck and maybe head upstairs.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, so you all are going to head upstairs?
Yeah.
With my best, world's greatest cultist mug in my haversack.
Setting the place on fire is not the worst idea.
All right, so if you go over to slide 3, let me nab you guys and bring you over. Whoops. Oh, look, I don't want to bring the whole, what? Why can I not? Really?
You can't, you have to do them one at a time. It's a real pain.
Oh, can I do mine? I'll do mine.
What? Okay.
There we go. There's one.
Appreciate it. Thanks. That makes my life a lot easier.
Oh, which stairway did we go up? The easternmost one?
Yeah. Are those pillars or little planets?
They are pillars.
Oh, I was
So-
hoping for little planets.
Who's not up here yet? Marius.
My copy paste is not cooperating. There we go.
There we go. Yay. Okay. So when you get to the top, you head up the spiral staircases, up these crumbling towers. And the spiral staircases appear to go further than the roof. There's a little bit more tower up past each one, but about halfway up the tower, there's a landing that opens up onto the roof. The tops of the towers are in pretty rough shape. You can kind of look up and see that there's not really any roof left to speak of. The stairs just kind of go up and open out onto a platform under the sky. If you head out onto the actual roof, you have this, I'm gesturing as if you can see what I'm doing on the screen. You have this dais in the middle here.
Mhm.
It's raised up just a couple of feet.
Ah,
Around it are a series of pillars, and all but 2 of them are in various states of destroyed. So this one right here and this one right here still have, they're still fully intact, and they still have like a little bowl on the top of them.
Oh, so they were never structural.
No, they don't appear to have ever been structural. They always appear to have just been freestanding out under the sky. There is no more roof or anything. You're on the roof, essentially.
The ceiling solid, or is there like a hole in it to let sunlight through or something like that?
Oh, the ceiling down to below from where you just came?
No, if I'm standing
Or-
at that dais and I look up.
There is nothing above you at this point. There is no roof or anything.
Oh,
This is
no
all
roof.
just
Okay,
open.
so this
Yep.
is we're exposed to the air. There's no walls or anything around the outside.
Right. You're on the roof, essentially. The towers are a little bit higher on either side, but there's no
Got it.
walls or roof or anything over you.
I'm just thinking, we're not going to find it just laying around on the ground,
no.
on the floor.
Uh-uh.
Looking
It
for
will have
some
been-
kind of hiding space for it.
Yeah. Because if it were easy to find, then the cultists would have found it.
Oh, maybe the cultists did find it.
I'm sure they have it. I'm sure they brought it here.
That's my
whether or
guess.
not it remains here is the different question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this? Because Drake, because you're the smallest, if you could go up as far as the stairs go and up and perch on top of the tower and look down, can you see into the bowls that are on the top of those 2
Ooh, you
intact
tossed
pillars?
them
Good
into the
idea,
bowl.
Penny.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'll climb up the stairs and then leap to the top rim of the ruined tower if I can. Kind of.
Sure. All right, so you're up at the top here, and you're just
Good
trying to
idea.
look out into the tops of those pillars.
Yeah, and I'll walk around as I need to get different angles, and then if I don't see anything from this side, I'll go to the other tower and do the same thing on the other tower.
Sure.
What's the circle in the middle? Is that a raised space or is that a
Yeah,
hole?
that circle in the middle is the dais. So it's just like a couple of feet up.
We're going to
of a
want to
raised
search that
platform.
too to see if there's a secret compartment in it.
Yeah.
So from your vantage on top of the tower, Drake, you can see that those bowls, shallow bowls on top of those pillars are also some kind of ceremonial brazier. They appear to be made out of like a rusted pitted metal, and you can see charcoal and soot staining the inside of them. So it appears that these are also used for fires, presumably ceremonial.
Oh, and there
Is
was coal in the storage room.
Is this all the pillars or just the two that are basically still remaining?
Just the two that are intact. The rest of them
Okay.
are destroyed to the point where they couldn't really be used for much of anything.
Okay. Is it something I can get to? Can I like jump across? I'm not sure what the distances are, or is it too far?
You could try.
Oh boy.
Yeah, sure. I'll try.
It's
We have
pretty
a healer
far,
along.
but you're you know,
We have a
you're
healer.
cat.
He's a cat.
This is your thing.
He'll be fine.
Cats do half-ass things all the time.
That's
So
true. Go ahead and make a 20-point physical challenge if you would like to try to jump to the top of the nearest pillar.
Okay, so 3 for physical, 1 for being a cat, and then if I use that braided sausage rope,
Oh my god. I'm going to remind you that you don't have hands.
It's in his little mouth.
yes, exactly. Okay,
what is
so
it-
I
I'll
would
go
give
with
him a
a.
+1 for using the sausage rope as equipment.
Explain to me how.
He whips it with his little mouth, and it like Indiana Jones style, it catches on to
Yeah,
the
I'll
wall
create
and
a
he swings
sausage
from it.
bridge.
Yeah.
sure you're not going to rephrase the whole sausage rope thing, Amanda?
And he's going to make it a 25-point challenge.
So I'll go with a 13, so that should cover a 9 to a 17 with a +4.
You bastard, it was a 13. You leap
Critical
across.
success?
Critical success.
If it's a
The only
critical
one of the
success,
games
then
on
all
his
of that
half-assed
that
leap.
sausage stuff happens.
Sure, you whip your sausage bridge across the span and prance across it lighter than air.
Yeah.
It is a sight of grace and beauty to behold. You are now on top of this pillar and you're getting covered in soot and charcoal.
So I'll rummage through it looking for an amulet.
Okay, you start rummaging, and before you get too far in disturbing this layer of coals, it starts feeling warm.
Oh.
Ooh.
These were hot not that long ago.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Okay, well, there's probably no amulet
How
up
do they
here,
like
so
them?
I'll take my sausage bridge and hop down to the party and let them know.
Okay.
All right. And at the top of the tower, there's no hidey hole for an amulet either. So there's just one more tower left for us to check before we start beating the crap out of cultists to get information out of them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I think Phil and I were going to check the dais in the middle to see if there's any.
We're going to search the dais to see if there's any
Sure,
like
yeah.
hidden compartments on it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so if you would like to search the dais, go ahead and do a 15-point mental challenge.
All right, the two of us are doing that together. I'm only mental 2. What is your mental, Kamaria?
3.
All right,
Plus
well, why don't you be the primary and I'll help. I'm observant. So if I help you, I'll give you a +2 on your check.
All right, so I've got a range of 6, and it's a 15-point challenge. I'm going with 2.
Very good. It was a 4. So you don't find any hidey holes or anything. It appears to be solid stone.
Mhm.
As you're searching around the area, you do find a few random things. You find a dropped pin, like the one that the previous cultist was wearing, of the little sun icon. You see that there's a bunch of soot running down those pillars. So now that you're actually looking and getting close to a lot of this stuff, you see that, yeah, it looks like these pillars have been used to have fires lit in them pretty recently. And you also see fresh footprints in the sand.
Can we follow them to the spot where the amulet's hidden?
The sand.
That's quite the leading question. If you try to follow the footprints around, you see that they're kind of just like milling around all over the surface and eventually head back down the way that you came up.
They don't
It's
like go
probably
to
part
a
of the ritual use of the space. It involves some kind of
Tapering.
circuit. Fits, sun cult, circuit. All right, we have one more tower before we start beating the crap out of people.
And I will pick that sun pin to use as a toothpick with whatever beverages I make in my world's greatest cultist mug.
That's heresy.
Double heresy. Heresy upon the heretics.
I was actually
Well,
going to try and grab
that's
it into you as a
it's
disguise.
dogma to them. It's only heresy to us.
Right.
All right, so
Or
are you
orthodox
heading over?
to them? Sorry, I used the wrong word.
Are you heading over to the other tower
Yeah,
at this point?
Other tower.
Okay.
Up we go.
As you head over to the other tower, you hear a commotion coming from below.
Where's
Okay.
my mug?
Who ate all the sausages?
Sausage rope TM.
Oh, jeez. You hear some cursing and shouting and banging around, and see a couple of figures starting to clamber their way up the stairs at you. Rah!
I'm going to run
right.
over. Oh, sorry.
Cultists running up the stairs. When are you still standing there? On the
No,
stairs?
I'm running up the stairs.
You're running up to the top.
I don't know.
She would.
Yeah, I'm running up to the top.
I say, Kamaria, help me. I
I'm
run
running
in
across.
the direction that Wen is in.
Are you actually like moving that? What is happening? It just seemed very strange. Anyway,
If
way
we
is
have
up?
time, I'd like Kamaria and I, if we're able to grab that broken chunk of pillar and fling it down the stairs as the cultists are coming up.
the broken chunk of pillar. I will just note that this isn't exactly to scale. The broken chunk of pillar is like 3 feet in diameter.
Is there a chunk of masonry that the two of us could
sure,
pick
you
up
can.
together and
You
fling
can
down
pick
the
up.
stairs?
You sure can. You can pick up random bits of masonry and fling them down the stairs. Go for it.
Okay, that's what we'll do. If Kamaria agrees to that,
Sure.
We'll throw some big chunks of rock down the stairs. So hopefully that will discourage them, break their
Yeah,
charge.
you've got a better physical, but I can help.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So
try to huck some masonry.
Then I will try to do that. I have physical 3.
Okay.
Does my being observant help in that I know how to pick up the best piece of masonry or where to throw it most effectively?
Where to throw it most effectively, I would give you. Yeah.
Okay, so that gives me a range of 4. And then what is Kamaria bringing to the table?
Kamaria's got a physical of 2.
And she's cunning.
And but if you're assisting, it doesn't matter what your physical is. You only add plus
you only
1
1
as an assistant character.
Okay.
But does her cunning help?
How would her cunning help?
Because I would have a sense of where to throw it to cause the maximum amount of inconvenience.
I will take that. All right.
That's
so you have a 15-point
6.
range. All right.
So that's
15-point challenge.
And a 15-point challenge. So
Yes.
it's 6 points. If I were to guess, 9, that would take us from 3 all the way up to 15, right? My math isn't very good, but I know there's a 1 or a 2 that's going to pop up in all this. Damn it. Let's see. Why don't we go with 8, which takes us from 2 to 14?
Yep.
Sounds good. You've got a 10. So you got it. You send the masonry tumbling down this staircase. The cultists are dodging it, but it is obviously slowing them down. However, they are still charging towards you and screaming, and now brandishing more large, rusty knives.
Is our challenge of dealing with them when they get here going to be easier because some masonry bounced into some of them or knocked some of them off the stairs? Did we gain something tangible?
You bought yourself some time. It's slowing them down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm going to situate myself where just around the corner from where they have to come through to finish coming out onto the roof, and I'm going to be. They have to go through the door one at a time, right? So I'll be prepared with my dagger to sort of stab them one at a time as they come through. So
Yeah, I'll do the same with my. I'll go to the other side there. Can I?
Yeah.
I want to do what I'm following Kamaria's lead, but I get out my swords to do the same thing she's talking about
Hey,
doing with her dagger.
hey, Phil, throw me to the top here, to the top of the, of the tower.
Okay. If I could throw him to the top of the tower or just sort of
Sure.
sling him there with the sausage rope, I'll do that.
Sling him with the sausage rope, sure. You fling him up to the top of the tower with the sausage rope.
And when I'm up there, I'm going to hide so they can't see me, but yell in a deep voice, "Stop! The god of the twin suns commands you."
Uh, you're shouting in your tiny little cat voice. Does not
Bold
seem
and
to be
heretical.
having any effect. Also, there's another staircase, you guys, and now there are 2 more cultists coming up onto the roof and rushing at you from the other side of the roof.
okay, well let's stab these first 2 and then go after the other ones.
Agreed.
All right, the first one that comes up though is gonna try to stab you back. So go ahead. Oh, did I just accidentally close my random number generator? 1 second.
Oh, they all have a stroke.
Reopen close tab. Thank you. Okay. So do try to avoid being stabbed.
All right.
A 15-point physical to avoid being stabbed as this fanatic comes charging at you.
Can I use my
Giant
dagger
rusty knife.
defensively?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that my physical's only 2 though, so but that gives me a 3, which is I guess an effective range of 7. It's a 15-point challenge.
Mhm.
5.
So 5 takes you from
2, I think 2 through to 9, 8. 2 through to 8.
Okay, so 2 wrapping around to 8. Or was it?
No.
I'm sorry. I
I
got
get to 5, and I've got a range of 7 with 5 in the middle.
Well, you mean it's either 3 above 5 or 3 below 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got all confused there with what you were saying. Okay. So your range is 2 to 8, just in that range.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. You failed, and you're getting stabbed now.
I'm getting stabbed.
All right. So that's not great. Kamaria has just been stabbed by this fanatic. He comes and charges at her with a rusty knife and stabs her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can we try to stab him now? Because now that we're stabbing, I'm not going to be hitting people in the forehead anymore.
Stabbing is happening. When are you just trying to avoid this at this point? You're at the top, right?
I am at the top. Yeah.
All right. And Drake, you're also at the top with Wen, right?
Well, yeah, but sitting like on top of the wall, right? So my plan is when one of the cultists comes within range. Yeah, when one of the cultists comes within range, the ones that are coming from the dais area, I'm gonna, because it's dark, I'm gonna leap at him, at their face, and scratch and claw, hoping that they don't hit me with a rusty knife. So.
How close do I need to be to unstab Kamaria?
You have to lay on hands to unstab her. So, however, as you are starting to all get a little bit distressed by the number of cultists that are coming around, at this point, the sun has now fully disappeared beneath the horizon, and all of the desert is in a violet twilight. Drake suddenly feels a wave of sleep wash over his body, and he collapses to the floor of the roof. He collapses where he's at, right next to Wen. His mind stays alert, but is transported away from the fight and through a tunnel of darkness and swirling twilight. After a few moments, the stars still, and he finds himself floating in a peaceful night sky. A voice reaches him in the darkness. "You made it, Drake. You found me." The figure of a middle-aged man with wavy dark hair and a flowing blue cloak fastened with a brooch shaped in the sign of Kiara's appears before him. So we're in this kind of Everything else is on pause, and we're in kind of a dramatic aside at the moment.
Are the words brooch and amulet synonymous?
No.
So Drake, I look up at him and say, "Who are you? You look familiar."
Yeah,
I know.
so you sure do. So if you go over to slide 4, you can see what is happening at this point. Because again, this is from a comic, so I have lots of fun visuals already ready. I drew them a long time ago. So the man before you says, I am Amit, the last avatar of Kiara's before you. I'm glad you're here, for I need your help. We have been trapped in this reincarnation cycle for centuries. The immense power of the god of night, always chained to feeble human whims. We must break ourselves free. You must do this.
I will. How can we break this cycle?
Ah, good. Well, you must travel to every final resting place of every other avatar of Kiara's before you. Each one will appear before you as I have, and you will gather up all of their power and knowledge until you are ready to face the Covenant of Mandra and free us from this bond.
Does one of them happen to know how I can not be a cat?
How did you become a cat? This isn't normal.
Well, I was in this treasure vault, and um, a white mage cast some sort of dispelling ward on me, and apparently flung my human form into the darkness.
That
I don't
is
fully understand it. I'm not a mage.
That is a new one on me. Maybe someone will be able to help you, but I've got nothing.
No, you don't know where the shadow of Widge is, do you? I've heard that can help.
Well, it's not here. I lost it here when I died, but that was 24 years ago. It's a priceless religious artifact. Of course, someone came and found it. I don't know where it is now, but you will have to uncover that somewhere along your quest.
All right, we'll add it to the list.
Is the
Is
shadow
there
of
something you can do now to help me and my friends? We're being besieged by these cultists.
Dabbed.
Yes. Of course, just a little stab, just a little.
Mhm.
Of course, go, young Drake, and take with you my blessing. I will give you the power to transform into the beast form of Kiara's. It'll be quite handy for that battle you're about to wake up into.
beast form?
Beast form.
Beast form.
You
He's
had
gonna
me at
go in.
beast form.
Yeah.
He's gonna go into beast mode. So
Thank you,
at this,
Annette. I look forward to meeting all our ancestors.
hooray! So now Drake begins to come to. The battle has continued in his absence, but as he awakens, everyone stops to watch as he transforms into a massive cat monster, which looks like this.
Whoa.
Rah!
Whoa.
He towers 10 feet at the shoulder and about 20 feet from nose to tail. His form is similar to a giant black lion with a flowing mane and long tufted tail. Because he is enormous and has giant claws and teeth, he is able to quickly dispatch the remaining cultists.
Oh,
Oh.
well, that was easy.
Yeah,
Easier than me stabbing
this
them.
icon. Here we go. There. That's more like it.
Wait, what did you do? Where?
Back on map 3.
Oh.
What's on map 3?
It just
Oh,
made his
geez.
icon
Okay,
enormous.
this is good now. Okay.
Perfect. And then what you do is you go nom, 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 and all of the cultists go away.
With his
Because-
4 foot long pink tongue.
As you eat them all. After tearing his way through all of the cultists, Drake shrinks back down to house cat form and falls to the floor exhausted.
We pour him a saucer of camel milk and tell him he's a good boy and pet him and thank him for his good work.
Aw,
We give him
very
some
nice.
of the sausage.
And some of the sausage.
Now we can finally eat this thing.
Now you can finally eat the sausage.
Actually,
And
Drake
yes,
in big form just ate a bunch of people.
yes.
I have no problem with this.
And they
It's
were
fine.
delicious.
He doesn't eat sausages, and we do.
Right. Uh, and that is the encounter at the Temple of the Banished Sons. Hooray! You have been given a quest. You now know what you actually have to do for the rest of the story of
Yay.
Age of Night.
Very
Wow.
cool.
Thanks, Amanda.
You're very welcome. I hope everyone had fun.
Yeah.
I did.
That was
All
fun.
right. Well, for those who watched the video, I hope you found that enjoyable, and we'll check out this adventure when it's out.
And TSRPG in
And
general.
TSRPG and all the
and
other
Age of
fun
Night.
adventures. We're covering a bunch of different genres now, so there will be something for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. We'll talk to you. See you later. We're not talking. We'll see you later. Bye.